I think a lot of us have this idea in our heads that a man named Jesus probably did exist and was a great man, a philosopher, a guru, a spiritual sage, a good guy, or, in other words, a great moral teacher. But God? No, I don't think so. But according to C.S. Lewis, this is the one thing we mustn't say, because it's nonsense, it doesn't make any sense, and it's just not an option. Look at it this way. I recently came across a story about some guy in Russia who was traveling around from village to village, preaching, teaching, and promising a lot of hope. And he had a bit of a cultish following. And then he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm the Son of God." Now, what are the first thoughts to shoot across our minds? It's either A, this guy's completely out of his mind, or B, he's a liar and a con man and he's taking advantage of these people. But I don't think any of us would be thinking C, oh, what a great man and a great moral teacher. Poof. C.S. Lewis puts it this way: any man who was merely a man and said the sort of things Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He'd either be a lunatic on the level of a man who thinks he's a poached egg, or else the devil of hell. So then for Jesus to go around claiming to be the Son of God, there can really only be three options. Either A, he's a madman, B, he's lying, or C, the option that terrifies us. He actually is who he says he is. Now, some of us will try to wiggle out of this by saying, yeah, but how do we know he really said those things? Well, either he said them, or somebody else invented that he said them. And if somebody else made them up, then we have to be able to answer all those questions like, who made it up, and when did they make it up, and why, and what could they possibly gain? Well, according to Peter Kreeft, professor, philosopher, and author of over 80 books, here's what they gained. Their friends and family scorned them. The Jews and Romans stole their social standing, possessions, and political privileges. They were imprisoned, whipped, tortured, exiled, crucified, eaten by lions, and cut to death by gladiators. Others of us will say, yeah, but there could be other options. Like, what if he was just misunderstood and didn't really mean those things? Or what if he was just a legend created around campfires? Well, it's impossible it was all just a big misunderstanding. But look at it this way. Imagine if you were on trial for your life, all because of a huge misunderstanding. Wouldn't you do everything in your power to try to clear it up? Jesus doubled and then tripled down. And the legend thing? Well, people who know about this stuff and common sense tells us that there simply wasn't enough time for a legend this significant to take root and spread. Look at it this way. In order for a legend of this size to grow, at least 100 years or a full generation must pass. Why? Because anyone who's alive who could debunk the legend would have to be dead. Now, Jesus died around the year 34, give or take, and the earliest accounts we have of early Christian life were written around the years 50 or 60. So that leaves a window of about 30 years for a legend of this magnitude to take root and spread. So that would be like someone trying to convince me that Joe Schitelli, a guy I went to high school with, was the Son of God and raised some guy from the dead at the prom. And then me and about 300 other people saying, no, he wasn't, and that never happened. Every single one of us probably has a different idea in our head of who Jesus is. Some of us will say he was just invented or misunderstood or a legend. But these are all just illogical speculations with no historical basis. The easy way out is just to say, yeah, he was just a good guy and a great moral teacher. But as C.S. Lewis says, we got to stop with this patronizing nonsense about him being some great human teacher. He didn't leave that option open to us. He didn't intend to. Instead, we're left in a rather uncomfortable spot, and we have to make our own choice. Do I mock him or pity him as just some poor guy who was completely out of his mind? Or do I spit on him as a liar and a fraud who deceived billions of people? Or do I fall down on my knees and say, yes, God,